Cama 2020. What is in it for the church?
Cama 2020, everything is in it for the church because the legal status of churches, apart from being constitutionally entrenched on the freedom of association, it is also given birth to by the provision of Cama that allows the registration of trustees of churches to be registered and for the church to be clothed with the toga of legal personality. So everything is in it for churches, mosques, and NGOs.
Was there a provision for churches in the former act?
Yes, there was a provision for churches. As we recall, Part C of Cama 1990 deals with incorporated trustees in relation to churches, in relation to mosques, and in relation to non-governmental organizations. So there has been the provision before, but what is different in Cama 2020 is a move towards not mere legal recognition, but a move towards accountability, a move to ensure that churches, NGOs, and mosques are held accountable. But the twist in the 2020 Cama is that we will recall that since 2016, there was effort at various levels from the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria and also the not-for-profit organization Governance Code 2016 to hold churches and religious bodies accountable. But we remember how the churches, the mosques, and non-governmental organizations reacted to frustrate the effort of Mr. Jim Obazi, who was then in charge of making all these reforms. And we recall that Mr. Jim Obazi was sacked and the non-for-profit organization Code of Governance 2016 was suspended as a result of allegations, and criticism by religious organizations. Then we recall that soon after that, the House of Assembly, the House of Representatives, made an effort to pass an NGO bill which would bring non-governmental organizations within a regulatory framework. But that bill was equally allowed to fall through. The bill did not see the light of the day because of criticism from non-governmental organizations. So one perennial question in the political landscape has been, is it morally okay for churches not to be regulated by government? Can government create organizations that it cannot control? Under what circumstances would government have the political and the legal authority to control churches, to control mosques, and to control civil society organizations? So the argument has been, however important the work of churches, mosques, and non-governmental organizations, it is always important on the basis of checks and balances, to make provisions to check the excesses of leaders of these organizations. And the right institution to do that is government.
Was there a need for this provision?
Definitely there is a need. So, and it is the excesses of government or the excesses of many religious leaders that make this provision inevitable.
How has the change in the new law affects the church?
The change in the new law affects the church in several ways. But what is interesting to me is that people have not even looked at some of these ways. I will discuss three of them. One, the new law, that is Cama 2020, provides that it is possible for the CAC to deregister an association and also to remove any of its trustees. That is one. Then two, the Cama also says that it is possible now for the Corporate Affairs Commission, if it finds that the account of an association has been dormant for a while and the association fails to explain its activities to CAC within 15 days, CAC can proceed to dissolve that association. And again, the new Cama also makes it very clear that leadership of associations, including churches, mosques, and NGOs, are not entitled to salary except payment of out-of-pocket expenses. So these are areas in the new law that have raised significant doubts in the polity, and I would like to discuss each of these. First of all, the power of the CAC to deregister association and remove trustee is very much in order, because the law is that he who has the power to hire should equally have the power to fire. So CAC is the authorizing authority, is the government institution that gave legal backing to churches, to mosques, and civil society organizations. Why should they not be able to derecognize them? We can pick examples from INEC, which has power to deregister political parties. We can pick examples from the Central Bank of Nigeria that has powers to dissolve the board of directors of bank and even go ahead to appoint credible people to replace them for a period of time. The only question churches or the Christian Association of Nigeria or Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, or CAN, as the case may be, the only question they should be asking now is this power of the CAC to be exercised arbitrarily? Under what conditions should this power be exercised? The Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 clearly outlined the procedures for exercising this power. One, it says that the power can only be exercised upon a court order. There must be an order of court. Then two, the CAC must have filed a petition before the court. So filing a petition is not enough for the court to give an order. The court must confirm that three allegations or any of the three allegations under the law have been established. One, there must be proof of misconduct, serious misconduct on the part of the leadership of the association. There must be proof of misappropriation on the part of leadership of the association, be it a church, mosque, or an NGO. And also there must be proof of fraud on the part of the leadership of the association. You know, a good example could be if a church is using its account to funnel money, you know, to terrorist organizations abroad. That would be a serious situation. Or where government discovers that a church or a mosque or an NGO is using its account, you know, to launder money, to launder drug money abroad. This will be serious instances where the court will need to make an order, you know, to remove either the trustees of the association or to dissolve the association altogether. But what is interesting about the law is that the law makes provision for remedy. Churches can approach the court if they feel dissatisfied, if they feel unhappy with any order of the CAC pertaining to the removal of their trustees. So I think it's a win-win for either the church or the CAC and even the society at large. So it's a good thing.
What should the church do going forward?
Going forward, it's my suggestion that churches should embrace the new Cama. You cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater. Cama, the current provision has very interesting law sections as it relates to accountability and transparency. However, my humble suggestion would be that the work of CAC is already universal. CAC is responsible for administering companies, is responsible for administering partnership, is responsible for administering business name. Now, even trustees, in my humble view, I would say that CAC should be left to manage the business aspect of corporations and then leave the charity aspect to an independent regulatory body. So in the future, I will suggest that the National Assembly should pass a law that is similar to the Charities Commission Act in the UK, where we have an independent regulatory body that is specifically saddled with the responsibility of overseeing charities such as churches, mosques, and civil society organizations. This way, we can address the current agitations that is arising or coming from CAN or from PFN or from mosque or from non-governmental organization. So the way forward in the future is to have an independent charities commission. But before that is done, the current law is very much in order. It is good for the country, it is good for churches, and it is good for Nigerians.